We have the Model Y Juniper Performance, and we already scanned this and ready to go. And we are about to test our first prototype. I mean, we've tested it, but this is like the full one and the final one. And I'm hoping this is the final one because we don't really have another option. So that's what we're about to do. We're going to install this and pray for the best. I think this is good because we found some really cool ways we can design this. All right, so let's get started. The Model Y Juniper Performance is slightly different, and we actually have a premium all-wheel drive here. We also have a standard in the back, and if you look at the front of that, there's no piano black right here, and that's really the biggest difference that you'll see between the two. We got it all done, and at first we thought maybe we put a little, not inlay, but a little cut right here, and then seam it right here. That made sense to me, but as we were working, we actually found a way to do it all in one piece, one single piece, and we think it looks really good. So we got this all hydrated, and for those of you who are starting to learn about PPF, or have never learned about it, the blue is for slip solution, which is basically water and dishwash soap, and the red is for tack solution, which is a mixture of water and alcohol that allows the film to actually tack into place, right? So we are actually installing Avery Dennison Supreme Defense PPF matte variant, which is also called satin or stealth. So we're gonna go ahead and lay it out, and we got Desto to help. And what we're just gonna do, since we're doing the test fitment, is we're just gonna peel, and then there's gonna be like inserts, like the hole and then the fog light area. Right. So we're just gonna hydrate it as we do it. Normally we have a table, but as you see, we are not in our shop, we're in our garage. It is big, but at the same time, limited. So just disclaimer on that. We normally don't install outside. This is for test fitment purposes only. Yeah, so we can do that afterwards. Yeah. So go ahead and just start peeling. And just start, yeah. Like walk away from me. There you go. Okay, I'll hold this and then we can start, yep. You could start letting go, yep. Hold that. You got it?
I got one something.
Okay.
Did I get all that?
I think so.
Okay.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and just hydrate this thing. And go ahead and just lay it out. All right, so Desta, if you can just hold that side so that it doesn't fall while I'm doing this test fitment. So here's the thing. This is not an instructional, but you are gonna learn how to do this in this video. And what we're doing first is we're basically lining up this little corner right here. And we use that tack solution I told you about. Can I get another one? This is not the good one. And we're gonna line this up. There you go. That one doesn't have a lot of alcohol for some reason. There you go. I can just tell by the smell. Is that weird? Don't like using alcohol, but sometimes that's just what you need. All right, so you see I got this anchored, and I didn't actually wrap around the top edge because the water kind of falls and drips down, but we did fold over the edges right here. So that's one of the things that we did a little bit differently on that front. All right, so now that this is tacked, we need to tack this little hole right here. All right, so what we're gonna do as well is just spray into this. This is the tow hook. And on the older Model Y, it was actually on the other side. This time it's on the left side. All right, so there you go. I think so. All right, so once all of that is good, which it is, and you can see it goes all the way, and we're kind of creating this line. What you want to do is you want to basically pull this enough, and like I said, this needs to go about 1/2 centimeter this way, because you see all this material, it's asking you to pull it this way, and you have to. If you don't, you got all this flap right here. So what you're going to do is you're just going to pull all the way. And when you do that, you'll notice that it starts to work itself out. And you can see right here, I stop right here by the corner. And then once you get to that point, I'm going to go ahead and redo right here.
A little easier to see.
Yeah, that is a lot better. All right, so you can see me basically move this forward, right? And I have some of this, but we're going to pull this down, and that should help as well. So once you get to this point, and we're just making sure everything is hydrated, and once you get to that point, I'm going to focus on this corner right here, and you're going to basically pull. You see how it just fit? And then I'm really focusing on this corner first, and then you pull this down as well right here. Okay, so if it's been some time, you also want to make sure you're hydrating non-stop. It's probably one of the biggest mistakes a lot of people do is they don't put enough slip solution. Okay, so now that it's loose, we're gonna tack this bottom corner. All right, so I'm just doing a test fitment right there. And look at that. So now that this corner is done, you see I go right up to it. The next is this little corner right here. You want to go right up to this corner and then just make sure that it's good. And then this should kind of work itself out. Right? And then everything else, last alignment point is going to be right up here. So once you pull this up, just a tiny bit, everything just fits right there. And then after that, you can start working your way out to this line right here, which is, this is an edge to edge, or we call this a zero disassembly kit, because you don't have to disassemble anything actually, including this. You don't even have to disassemble that at all. All right, so I know that we've tacked here, and we kind of got all this stuff. Notice I didn't do anything over here. The next is you need to focus on this little corner, and this needs to be pulled down, and it's asking to be pulled down. So next, we're gonna go ahead and spray a lot of slip again. Okay, and then going to this bottom right here. All right, so I want to go ahead and use some tack again. Pull it down. It's asking to be pulled down. And now it's tacking. And look what happens right here. It starts to actually work itself out, and then this lines up pretty perfectly. So you got some bubbles right here. You got to release it. And then also tack it. Kind of a dual. And I'm just going to hold this down. Just work this through. Okay. Okay. Sometimes, like, you got this finger right here, no worries. You can kind of pull this and pull it just a little bit more. Again, tack this by pulling it. And then look at that. That's a lot better. And then you could tack the rest. And then you could work yourself out with the smaller fingers right here. Okay. Okay, awesome. So now that you have this bottom tacked, right now it's slightly cold, but you do need to bring this down in the center. So you got this tacked and this tacked, and you got to bring this down just a tiny bit. So you're going to go ahead and kind of tack the bottom. And once you feel like it's intact, you spray some tack right there. And then go ahead and tack all this down. Okay. And now all of this is lining up, and then you can go ahead and go out this way. You can go ahead and figure out, whoops, I got that in a second. All of these are pretty small, so you can kind of focus on getting this out and focus getting this out. Pretty minimal all the way up there. Okay, so now you have this little area that will have some tension. The smaller ones are gonna come out. You just need to be patient. And again, not that cold. It's just so freaking cold right now. Yeah, the temp is dropping by the second here. So it is getting darker too. But now you got this tension. This tension is really not that bad. But the key here is going to be spraying a lot of tack solution inside there. And then basically you can go out left or right and then kind of go into it. Okay, so into this space. And then I can start squeezing it out. Right? So you're kind of going little by little. And there you go. Sometimes I just like using my finger right here and just holding it. There you go. There you go. So we got all of this done in one piece, which is amazing. And then this actually rolls down a little bit. This goes all the way in because there's actually quite a bit of space right there, you can see. So we'll do that at the end. But I'm just trying to show you that it goes all the way in. This goes a little bit lower, and this goes right to the edge just because there's a lot more wrist right here. This goes right to the edge. Well, we got all of this side basically tacked down. So the rest is basically the same on the other side. The difference is going to be it does not have a what is it called, tow hook. So when you move on to this area, the main thing is to just hydrate it all around every single square inch of this, really. All right, and basically stretch it across all the way to this point first, and then after that going to the top and then just following it and skipping the process for the tow hook. But other than that, like I said, it's essentially the same. There's a couple areas like here that needs to be hydrated again, so you could continue to do that, right? And then got microfibers. So I'm just gonna wipe it down because one trick is if you pull this with having a microfiber, getting rid of the slip solution on top layer, you'll be able to pull it a little bit easier. So now that we have this done, I'm gonna go ahead and tack it right here into that corner. It's gonna be quite heavy. All right. So the number one thing here is it's cold. It's not stretching at all right now. So I'm gonna try to. All right, so actually after multiple attempts, I actually got that corner down, But look at what happens. This is pretty amazing. Look at what happens when you stretch all this. All of these fingers just go away. And that's the exact amount of stretch that needs to happen in order for the fingers to basically go inwards, and then it hugs the edges. And that's exactly what you want to do. And then you go here to the corner, bottom corner, and you do the rest. But I think we have very, very minor edits. So for example, I actually want a little bit more edge because there's actually quite a bit of space that I can get underneath around to get full coverage. And every time I can get full coverage, I'm gonna get full coverage. I added a little bit more material here. I think it was a little bit too much material. So I want to remove some of that. But other than that, these corners and all the other areas fit pretty good. So I would say this is about 98%, 99%. Make those smaller edits and then we should be good to go. But that is how you install the Model Y Juniper Performance from Bumper. We're going to have a much more step-by-step guide. This is a necessary installation guide, but we want to get you an update of kind of like what we've been working on and where we're at in this product. I know you guys have been waiting for this. So if you have any questions, let us know in the comments below. We'll see you later and stay protected.